Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, welcome to Robert's Porch. I'm your host, Robert. Alright, a little driver spotlight. Did the spotlight on Shane Van Gisbergen yesterday. Today is going to be Bubba Wallace. William Darrell Wallace Jr., born October 8, 1993. Bubba for short. Started racing Bandoleros and Legends at age 9. In 2005, he won 35 of 48 Bandolero Series races. 2010, he joined the Drive for the Diversity program, driving in the K&N Pro Series East, currently known as the ARCA East, a regional series there on the East Coast. Racing, won his first race. The first race he was in, he won at Greenville's Pickens Speedway. He was the youngest winner in that track history that day. He won Rookie of the Year that year, the first African American to do so. In 2010, he did 10 races that year for the K&N Series, 2 wins, 5 top 5s, 7 top 10s, third in points. He came back in 2011. In that series, he finished second in points. That 2010-2011 series, he was battling with Ryan Truex, Brett Moffitt, Cole Witt, Ty Dillon, Miguel Paluda, Corey LaJoie, Matt DiBenedetto, Alex Bowman, Chase Elliott, Ben Kennedy, yes, the Ben Kennedy that we know today as the running NASCAR, Daniel Suarez. In 2012, he moved from Rev Racing to JGR, Joe Gibbs Racing there in the K&N Series, finished 7th in points, behind drivers like Kyle Larson and Ryan Blaney. Some of the top stars in our sport got their start in the regional series, the ARCA K&N East Series there back in the mid-2010, early 2010s. In 2013, he moved to the NASCAR Custom Truck Series for KBM, Kyle Busch Motorsports. Finished 8th in points, got a win at Martinsville that year. In 2014, finished 3rd in points. Ended up with 3 wins that season as well. 4 wins that season. His 2 full seasons there in the Truck Series had 5 wins total for Kyle Busch Motorsports. In 2014, while running full-time for KBM, he ran 6 races for JGR in the number 20 Xfinity car. His best finish was 7th in Iowa and Daytona. In 2015, he left Toyota and went to Roush Racing in the NASCAR Xfinity Series. He replaced Trevor Bayne in the number 6 there for Roush Racing. 2015 and 2016 full-time. His best finish was Chicagoland. He finished 11th. 2016, his best finish was 2nd at Dover. He finished 14th in points. In 2017, after 12 races, he was 4th in points. Unfortunately, the sponsor pulled out. With no sponsor on the car, they pulled out of the Xfinity Series. The Roush Racing number 6 had 1 more race in the Xfinity Series after that. Because he had no sponsor, obviously no ride, he ended up doing some substitution in the Cup Series, made his Cup Series debut at Pocono in 2017 for the injured Eric Almirola, where he finished 26th. Eric Almirola moved on to Stewart-Haas Racing the following season, so Bubba took over the number 43 for Richard Petty Motorsports 2018 through 2020. He finished 28th, and 22nd in points. At that time, that team was not a front-running team. In 2026, Eric Almirola's last full season, he finished 26th in points. The year after Bubba Wallace left in 2021, Eric Jones finished 24th in points. I know anytime that I talk about Bubba Wallace and things come up around that era, one thing people talk about, well, Eric Jones won in the 43 car. He won it years later after Richard Petty Motorsports merged with GMS, and Gallagher brought in money to RPM and actually improve the team. We know in that 2020 season, we all know what happened at Talladega. Now, and like I've interacted with people on social media, and people immediately bring that up when Bubba Wallace's name is, you read Bubba Wallace's name. Look the facts up, folks. Straight up, you gotta look the facts up. Out of 29 tracks, 60 garage stalls that had a rope as a pull down, Only one was tied like that. Does it look like a noose? Yes. If you Google the description of a noose and you look at it compared to that, yes, that rope was tied like a noose. Yes, did we find out later that, according to surveillance video and photos, that the FBI discovered that late in 2019, that one garage stall was done like that, sometime in 2019. Yes, that came out after the fact. Here's the thing. Bubba Wallace was not in the garage stall that day. The team discovered it, or saw it. The team reported it to NASCAR. NASCAR and SMI came in and looked at it. They are the ones that called the FBI. Now, at that time, we know what was going on in the world, in the United States. Not getting into that. But we know what was going on in the country at the time. Anybody would have saw that, try to put two and two together, because back, we like to do 2 and 2, everything fits together. Did we find out later it was already there? Yes. Did anybody do anything wrong? No. Was it done on purpose because it was Bubba Wallace's car in that garage stall? We found out later. No, it wasn't. Hindsight is 2020. We need to move on from that. Also in that season, we know at Martinsville that year, there was a unique sponsor on the 43, a BLM. We all know the meaning behind it. But again, hindsight, we know things that have came from that wasn't so good. We know that there's things that came from that were good. We know that when it comes to sponsorship on these NASCAR cars, the car owner has to approve it. The King Richard Petty himself approved it. We know NASCAR has to approve it. NASCAR approved it. All the other sponsors that team has to approve it. We got to the car we got to what we had at Martinsville that year. Bubba Wallace didn't just wake up one day and go, we're putting this on the car today, guys. Let's do it. No, it doesn't work that way. It never has. It never will in NASCAR. NASCAR runs the place. Done. So I hate that I have to, anytime I do a Bubba Wallace video, that's part of the lore of Bubba Wallace. I understand that. So after he left RPM in 2001, he joined up with Michael Jordan and Denny Hamlin for 2311. I find it there in 2020, if you remember back, there's a lot of rumors going around. One of the rumors was MJ and Denny Hamlin are going to team up with Bubba Wallace and purchase stake in Richard Petty Motorsports. One of them was, I think, Bubba Wallace is supposed to buy Richard Petty Motorsports. Denny Hamlin, I love when he talks the story. He called up MJ. They've been friends for years. He calls him up and says, "Yeah, did you hear this rumor? Yeah, we're supposed to be putting a team together." "Oh yeah, that's kind of weird. We never talked about that. We're not doing that." "Yeah. What if we do? What would that look like?" "What? What do you mean?" Boom. MJ, Denny Hamlin, 2311 was born. One car team that first year in 2021. Finished 21st in points. They got that win there at Talladega. After lap 117 of 188 laps, we know it rained. We also know Talladega has no lights. We also know the race started late in the afternoon. We also know the race was delayed from Sunday to Monday. We also know that it takes about 2.5 to 3 hours to dry a 2.66 mile track that you've already lost because of the rain downpour. From what I recall, I know there's people going to say this is wrong, but obviously if you want to go back 3 years and find weather reports, you might be able to figure it out. I think it quit raining like at 2 or 3. I think it was like 2 or 3 o'clock. And like 4 o'clock when the rain stopped, time they dried the track, there wasn't enough time to, once the rain stopped, to dry that track, to get back racing, to finish the race before darkness. You got to figure it's a fall, so darkness was earlier. So NASCAR, like they did from 1949 through 2024, except we have wet weather tires in some tracks, they made the decision. We're past halfway. They called the race, just like they did with the Coke 600 this year. I know so many people blame Bubba for that. Well, because Bubba was leading, they wanted him to get his wins. No, that's not what happened. He took the lead 5 laps, I think it was 5 laps before the end of the race. He took the lead, drove to the lead, led laps. Somebody spun in coming off of 4, caused the big one. Time they got that cleaned up, and it started raining, they brought him down pit road and parked him. He had already taken the lead way before the caution came out. Then the caution came out, and then it started raining. That's the order of effects. And NASCAR Classics actually has that race on there, and you can go back and watch it for yourself. So in 2022, 2311 added the second car there with Kurt Busch. We know Kurt Busch got injured. Unfortunately, concussion, which we found out as of right now, has ended his career. Sad, sad, sad. He got a win that year. So the 45 was in the owner points. So Bubba Wallace jumped into 45 for the playoffs, put Ty Gibbs into 23 because the 45 was part of the owner playoffs. And Bubba got that big win there at Kansas. I know a lot of people react to that and say, well, it was Kurt Busch's car, Kurt Busch's team, Kurt Busch's setup. Of course Bubba Wallace won. Every time somebody makes that statement, I've come back with, so the team didn't set the car up for Bubba Wallace to win. The response is, what do you mean? Well, if Bubba Wallace can win in Kurt Busch's car with Kurt Busch's setup, that means 2311 is not giving Bubba Wallace, the 23 car at the time when he was in it, the ability to win. He can win in a winning car, so he's not getting a winning car to be able to win. Yeah, no one responds to that when I make that statement. But 2022, Bubba Wallace ended up finishing 19th in points, a step up from where he was in 2021. We know in 2023, Bubba Wallace went on to make the top 10, made the playoffs on points there from Daytona, was able to finish 10th in points. Both cars, him and Tyler Reddick, both made the round of 12. Tyler made the round of 8. So far in 2024, Bubba Wallace is currently 15th in overall points. Obviously 17th in the playoffs because there are 2 winners that are below him, Austin Cindric and Daniel Suarez. We know at this point he has to more than likely win to get to the playoffs. I think it's a 38-point deficit right now, 38 or 40, I think, because it changed with the Chicago Street Race. Because with Alex Bowman getting the victory there from the Chicago Street Race and moving up, it actually changed the cutoff. I'm going to pull that up here. So let's see, Bubba Wallace is 40. What is that? Because Buescher is the last one in right now in the playoffs on points. So Bubba's 45 points behind Chris Buescher. Now we also know that there was an incident there on the cool-down lap with Alex Bowman. We know that there is a chance there could be a penalty from that from NASCAR. Now, what a lot of people don't know, and I love the fact there's a lot of people sharing this stuff. A couple of years ago, we had Denny Hamlin and somebody else had an issue on. I actually shared it on X. I know that on the Chicago race, we had Chase Elliott and Daniel Suarez had the same kind of dust up in the back of the pack after the checkered flag dropped. Chase Elliott and Denny Hamlin a few years ago there at Martinsville. And then we had the whole thing with Elliott and Suarez at this race, and then Hamlin and Austin Hill in the final laps had an issue. We've seen people get fined for Daniel Suarez got fined at COTA a couple years ago for going after Alex Bowman on pit road. And if you go back and watch the video clip of that one, when Bowman comes in, Suarez basically bumps his team out of the way and goes after Bowman. When he bumps Bowman, there's literally an official standing right there. We know Krasnodar got that big fine in points when he spun Harrison Burton under caution. And like Denny said in his podcast, and I'm going to say here as well, there's a big difference between spinning somebody under caution when there's safety vehicles and safety workers on the track versus doing what Bubba did. There's a difference. Even Alex Bowman said, He's mad. Typically when a driver is the recipient of something like that, they don't go, don't fine him. He deserves to be mad because I wiped his ass out earlier. Okay, so that's, that there's actually a video up on Robert Sports Show about that. So Bubba Wallace, ARCA Series East, 37 races, career, 6 wins, 16 top 5s, 26 top 10s, 4 poles. Truck Series, 51 starts, 6 wins, 16 top 5s, 30 top 10s, 3 poles. Xfinity Series, 88 races, 6 top 5s, 36 top 10s, 2 poles. In the Cup Series, all total, 239 races, 2 wins, 19 top 5s, 38 top 10s, and 2 poles. I know there are people that bring that up. Well, he's got 239 starts and only 2 wins. That's shit. Well, actually, there are 33 drivers in the history of NASCAR that have more starts that have 0 wins. He is 124th on the all-time start list with 239 career starts. 115 drivers have 2 or more wins out of 2,900 drivers that have started NASCAR races. Out of the 205, I think it is now, 207 drivers that have actually won a NASCAR race. So that's actually not bad. There's a ton of drivers. Again, 33 drivers have more starts and 0 wins in the Generation 7 car since 2022. Now we know in 2022, and again, anytime you talk about Bubba Wallace, that's got to come up as well, when he right rear hooked Kyle Larson at Las Vegas. Larson ran it into the wall, and like Bubba said, I don't lift. Bubba didn't lift. It bounced off the wall, and he, according to the SMT data, he drove it across the track and just hooked Larson. Okay, he got suspended for that. Yes, folks, Bubba Wallace was suspended for that. Yes, we know he got out of the car. He shouldn't have walked down the track. He shouldn't have walked away from the official. He shouldn't have walked over and pushed Kyle Larson. But he did. He got suspended. Case closed. He is not the... NASCAR makes their own rules up for him. He doesn't get punished. Bullshit. He got suspended for that. So in the 92 next gen races, the Gen 7 races, 26 different winners. Bubba Wallace is one of them. 88 drivers have started at least one race. 46 drivers have started 17 or more races. 8 drivers have 59 or more starts. Bubba has 91. 8 drivers have 59 or more starts that have 0 wins. So everybody that says Bubba Wallace does not deserve to be in NASCAR, he's only got 2 wins. One of them was a rain win. They don't count. Jeff Gordon had 5 rain wins. Do they count? Richard Petty and Dale Earnhardt each had 2. Do they count? And then Bubba's counts. Harrison Burton, no wins. Corey LaJoie, no wins. Found out today Corey LaJoie is getting a kick-ass crew chief for next year. So what I'm saying is, there's a place in NASCAR for Bubba Wallace. If you like him or hate him, that's fine. I don't care. If you hate him, we can debate that. When you bring up the other stuff, that's where the debate stops. Bubba is tied for 15th in top 5s in the Gen 7 era. Tied with Alex Bowman, by the way, who drives for Hendrick Motorsports. He's tied for 16th in the top 10s. Michael McDowell, Daniel Suarez. I don't hear anyone screaming those 2 guys don't deserve to be in NASCAR. He is 13th in total laps run. So only 12 drivers in the last 3 seasons have ran more laps than Bubba Wallace. He is 16th in lead lap finishes. So only 15 drivers have finished on the lead lap more of those 92 races than Bubba Wallace. All this together, yes, I'm a Bubba Wallace fan. I'm a Denny Hamlin fan. Bubba Wallace deserves to be in the NASCAR Cup Series. Plain and simple. He deserves to be in the ride he's in. Anyone that tells me that anybody in the Cup Series in that 23 car would beat Bubba Wallace, you don't know that. You can't say that. He has beat Kyle Busch in points 2 years in a row. He is higher up than a Penske car who's got to win, and then a Trackhouse car that's got to win. He beat Kevin Harvick, Kyle Busch, Martin Truex Jr., Chase Elliott, Alex Bowman. He beat them all last year in points. Bubba is where he needs to be at. Rumor has it he is signed for 2025. He brings sponsorship. He is not going to, I don't think he's ever going to be on that. You got to do this or you're gone. No, they're not going to do that. He is the flagship of 2311. He was there from the beginning. Now, obviously, he starts going backwards. So say he doesn't make the playoffs this year. And again, he doesn't make the playoffs next year. Then you could see, okay, maybe something needs to change because he went from 10th and something's not right. But as long as he can be within the playoff conversation, if he gets a win at Michigan this year, that all wipes out. But Bubba Wallace has the stats to be in NASCAR. Bubba Wallace has the stats to be in the car that he's in. Bubba Wallace has the stats. Stats and facts, folks. Stats and facts. And I say that online all the time. The sport needs him. He needs the sport. Plain and simple. We are in a place in this world, the Haley Deegans of the world, the Bubba Wallaces, the Rajah Carus, they need to be in NASCAR. If you look at other motorsports, look at NHRA. There isn't African American drivers, white drivers, female drivers. It's drivers, period. So, just my 2 cents on a driver spotlight on the one and only Bubba Wallace. We'll find out later today if there's a penalty from Chicagoland. If there is, either way, I will do a reaction to that. Lots of wrestling coming as well. As always, thanks for watching Robert Sports Show, and don't just have a great day. Have a spiffy day. Robert Sports Show, your YouTube leader in sports channel content. You don't have to agree with me. You don't have to disagree with me. Please comment your thoughts. I would appreciate to hear from you. Thanks for watching.